Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about fighting the winter war, okay? So let's talk about why this is so important. First of all, let's assume an apocalyptic type of scenario, okay, where basically the supervolcano went off or the asteroid fell, okay? Basically, yeah, surviving in the summertime is a lot easier than surviving in the wintertime, okay? And the winter is going to come, especially if you live in the northern part of the United States. Okay, the winter is going to come, and where I am here in Northeast PA, basically right now the temperatures are 15 degrees. Sometimes they'll go down to -4 degrees. Okay, and sometimes even colder. So winter is going to come, and we have to be prepared to deal with that. Now, in order to survive the winter, okay. Basically, we have to be well insulated. That means everything from head to toe has to be insulated, waterproof boots, insulated, layers of clothes, insulated gloves. All right, and what I did with these gloves is basically, these are leather work gloves that are insulated, and I recommend these type of gloves because you're going to be doing other things besides pulling the trigger. You're also going to be working. You're going to be either chopping wood or picking up stuff, or so if you're hunting an animal, you need to be able to carve it. So you need gloves that are tough enough to do real work in addition to be able to shoot. And the nice thing about these gloves is, the nice thing about an AR-15 or an AK-47 is that the groove is big enough that I can get my finger in that trigger guard, okay, and basically come up on target. Okay, and I can manipulate. Although manipulating the safety, I generally have to turn the gun a little bit to the side in order to be able to manipulate it. I don't have a round and chamber right now, so I won't go. So basically, I can get to the safety by turning it just a little bit to the side, and I can manipulate it. Obviously, it works a little easier if I don't have gloves on. But here's the thing: in the wintertime, we need to be able to work in gloves. Okay, now a couple of things here. First of all, if you look at some of my other videos and if you look at other videos across the internet, you will notice that, most of the training that people do is basically summertime training, okay? A lot of that tactical, or all of that tactical information that has come back to us, basically has come back to us from veterans of the war on terrorism, okay? For the last 20 years, we've been fighting a war on terrorism, okay? And, those guys, we've generated about 20 million veterans, and those guys have come back to us, and they've given us a lot of information that, we're using to train, okay? The last time we fought a winter war was during the Korean War, okay? And most of those guys are now, unfortunately, they've passed away, so we don't have the benefit of their experience, okay? But so basically, we gotta have to figure a lot of stuff out on our own. Okay, we do have, for example, military bases in Alaska and places that are very cold, but we're not fighting any wars over there. So a lot of these techniques are not pressure tested. Okay, under combat conditions. So these are some of the things you guys gotta think about. Now, you might say, well, why should I bother, with this type of stuff? Okay. Well, first of all, again, we are training for an apocalyptic type of situation, okay? End of the world scenario. The supervolcano went off, or the giant meteor landed. There's a breakdown in society, okay? And we have to survive, okay? So that's basically what the focus of this type of training is, okay? This is survival training under really adverse conditions where there's a breakdown in society, okay? Now, important to realize that in that type of situation, okay, there are no good guys, bad guys, okay? Basically, everybody's just trying to survive. The guys that were once good guys are now the bad guys. The guys that are the bad guys are still the bad guys, okay? So everybody's a bad guy. Everybody's trying to survive. Everybody will take whatever they need, if not for themselves, then from their community, okay? Because basically what's going to happen is society's going to break down into small communities that are going to be working together, and then you'll have, basically you'll have tribes, okay? And then you'll have situations where one tribe is trying to raid the other tribe. Okay, so that's a realistic type of way that at the end of the world will kind of break down. Okay, so now let's go a step beyond that. If let's say I'm the bad guy and I think you've got some supplies. Okay, first of all, I'm going to attack you when I think that you're at your weakest, okay? And that's probably going to be in the wintertime at night, okay? Because I know that you are probably, that's when you're going to be the weakest. That's when you're going to be the coldest, and that's where I am going to try and create a scenario for myself, create an advantage for myself, okay? So if I am attacking, your fortress, the first thing I'm going to try and do, okay, is knock out the power, the electricity, okay? And basically, if the power is still running, basically, society-wise, what that means is I'm going to basically shoot out the transformer that's outside your house, okay? Or shoot out all the transformers that are in your community. And if you ever notice that every time one of those transformers gets damaged, okay, it takes almost a day to replace it. So transformers are not easily replaced, okay? So by knocking out the transformer that's outside your house, I'm knocking out your electricity so you can't see at night. I'm also taking out your heat source because most boilers, most heaters won't work without electricity. Okay? That includes even if you have an oil burner. It's really cold, so you guys have to excuse me if I'm, if my teeth are chattering just a little bit here while I'm talking. But anyway, so that's a realistic type of situation where the bad guys, before they attack you, they're gonna knock out your electricity. So whether you like it or not, you're gonna be living and fighting in the cold. Okay, so everything I said before applies. You have to basically prepare for the winter. Now, if you guys live in California, that's a different type of situation. If I was the bad guy, looking to basically steal supplies, well, basically, California tends to be very flammable. Okay, so basically, I would start a fire around your compound or your fortress or your house or whatever you got over there. So basically, I'd take a different approach to something like, if you lived in California or so basically, depending on where you live, I'm going to try and figure out where you are most vulnerable, okay, and what will make you the most vulnerable, and that's the situation, by which I will attack you through, okay. So out here, it's really cold in the wintertime. So if I wanted to attack you and steal your supplies, I'm going to basically plan my attack, for on the coldest days, probably just as it's getting dark. Okay, so we're going to be fighting a winter. We're going to be fighting at night, most likely. Okay, so basically what you got to do is you got to practice now. You should be practicing in the snow with your equipment, and basically you got to practice doing your magazine changes. Okay, the tactical vests that you guys wear in the summertime, they're probably not going to fit over your insulated jacket. So you got to come up with different scenarios. For example, here, like I have my extra magazine on my belt, which is inside my jacket. Okay, if I need to do a magazine reload, a reload, I got to pull my jacket up and get to it that way. And that's just how it is, because tactical vest is not going to fit over this. Most of your war belts are probably not going to fit over your jackets. Okay, so you got to basically work around that. Another thing to keep in mind is if you are shooting in the daytime, your red dot, okay, is not going to appear the same in the snow. You're probably going to have to crank it up to the highest level, especially if it's bright out, because remember, the sun reflects off of the snow, okay? So the red dot tends to wash out in the snow, okay, if you're using a red dot. Also, a reason why you guys you do need iron sights on your guns. If I'm sure you guys are aware that batteries tend to die faster in the cold, okay? So even though, let's say you have one of those red dots that says it's going to freaking last for 5 to 10 years or 20 years or whatever, you haven't tested that when it's negative 4 degrees outside, okay? So you do need a backup. So those guys that say that, well, with modern red dots, you don't need iron sights, well, how cold is it when you're shooting, and how long are you shooting there? So that's something for you guys to play around with and test out. Same thing goes with your light, right? If you got a light on your gun, first of all, make sure the light is such that you can turn it on and off with your insulated gloves, okay? Okay, you gotta be able to turn it on with your insulated gloves. So if you have a very fine button, or maybe if you have a pressure pad, test it, make sure it'll work, okay? And again, like I said, you do need the iron sights, because I don't know how well this is gonna work when it's negative 4. Although I've been using this already for. I used it all through last winter, so I know that this Attaball works pretty good in the cold. Okay, I was shooting it last year when it was -4. I've only had to change the battery once on this. It takes a AAA battery. So you know, because I've tested it, I have some confidence. However, I still have the backup sights on here. And what I'll do in the wintertime is usually I'll fold, or even sometimes I'll fold down the rear sight, and then I'll turn this up. If it's really bright out, I'll usually have to crank it up to the highest setting. Right now it's not that bright. The sun's starting to set, so I'll bring it back just a little bit. And I can kind of use the front sight over here to give me a point of reference. So when I come up with the gun, you know, if I don't, because remember, I've got stuff here that I don't have in the summertime. I've got a lot of extra padding. I've got my hood on over here. I got my earmuffs on the inside. So when I come up here, I might not get the cheek wheel, that tight cheek wheel that I normally get in the summertime. So that front post over there gives me a point of reference where I can, you know, if I don't see my red dot immediately, I can kind of have a better idea of where to look. Okay. So let's do some winter drills. I've already got a magazine here that I have not chambered. Okay, and basically you gotta basically practice, you know, doing your magazine changes. Right? Give it a little tug over there. You know, basically with the a lot of times in the winter, what I'll do is I'll just grab it like this and just chamber around that way. Okay. With the thick gloves, sometimes you may, you know, depending on how you charge your handle, there's always a possibility that you may slip and you may not fully charge the round. And for that reason, you get used to doing your press checks. If you don't do them, it's going to be a little bit more important now because, like I said, you may, you know, your finger may slip, and definitely give that forward assist a punch to make sure that the round goes into battery. Okay. Guns on safe. Let's talk about what we're going to be doing now. If you notice over there, I got a couple of clay discs on the mount, and basically what I'm doing here is I'm shooting at those clay discs. I'm doing up drills where basically I'm bringing the gun up, firing that one shot, coming down, moving to a different position, and what that's doing is it's getting us used to moving around the snow a little bit. I'll probably shoot a couple of different positions from there. The rims that are on the ground, basically that can represent a chest shot, so we can do 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. You know, or 2 to the chest, 2 to the head, or we can basically do only headshots. One of the things to keep in mind is that in the wintertime, basically everybody's wearing thick jackets, so it's harder to know who's wearing body armor, who's not wearing body armor. So basically, you may just want to assume that everybody is wearing body armor. Remember what I said earlier about the guys that want the good guys are not the bad guys too, okay? Because everybody wants what you have. Everybody's in a desperate situation, okay? You know, and that's the end of the world type of scenario. So basically, you want to basically practice your headshots. You know, basically, because specifically this area right here, okay? Because you don't know what I'm wearing under here. This could be a hard helmet or whatever. So this part over here is usually a good target. That's where you want to aim for. If this target area is not available, then the next target area would be the hip area over here. Because that's not likely to be armored. Okay, so let's do a couple of shots here. Okay, we already checked it. Got around the chamber. Come up. Practice a low crawl now. So that's our training exercise for today. One of the things to keep in mind is that you may end up getting some snow in the bird cage. What you want to do is, after you're done shooting, basically fire one round in a safe direction to basically clear out any moisture that might be inside your barrel, and then store your gun down so moisture doesn't drip inside the barrel and freeze up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.